Hey guys, welcome back to Ignite Fitness. Hope you're all feeling great and ready to crush another workout. Today's workout is all about mobility and strength. So mobility is all about our joints, the ligaments and the fascia and everything that surrounds our joints, keeping it pliable and movable so that we can sink deeper in our squats, so that we can reach a little further back in our lunges, but also so that we can sustain healthy joints so we can have a fit lifestyle for our entire life. Are we ready, guys? Let's get to it. No need to warm up for this, guys, because we're going to be warming up as we go. So meet me down on the mat. We're going to move. I think we kind of did this in Pilates yesterday too. We're going to come into tabletop. We're going to shift forward, pressing in to the palms. We're going to work on some wrist mobility here. Pushing forward into those wrists. Feel a nice little stretch. You want to tuck the toes as well, so you get a little bit of a toe stretch as you sink back. That's great. Beautiful. This might feel intense for some of you because the wrists are not very commonly looked at thing. We do a lot in yoga. We work on a lot of wrist strengthening, but most fitness programs won't look at ankle and wrist strength and mobility. All right, so we're going to turn the wrist back. This is really dependent on you and where you're at in your fitness journey, the type of mobility that you'll have. So some of you might be able to rotate right through those shoulder rotator cuffs all the way back, and others it might not be the same. So you can either stay here in this position if it feels very intense to you and you're already feeling the stretch, or you can begin to sink it back, trying to keep those palms on the mat. And again, we're going to stick with that same motion, pressing forward and back, kind of getting a little stretch and release here on those wrists. And if you are a yogi and you're looking to do things like arm balances or even handstands, headstand, like working on this, handstand, not headstand, working on this wrist mobility is really important. Just really breathe into it. Okay, guys, rotate it back. And then we just press on the tops of the wrist. Don't put too much weight on them like this. We're just going to rest them down just to kind of counter stretch it. Beautiful. Feels so good. Let's come back onto our feet now. And we're just going to step one foot back, and same thing. We're just going to press into the toes. Nice little yogi toe stretch. So push forward, step it back, forward, and back. Love it. So counteract it with a nice calf stretch, press into it, pull it forward. Give me a little bit of a hang time now on that calf muscle. Oh, yeah. Bring it back center. Let's take the opposite leg back. So we'll press into those toes, drop it back, press in, and drop. Really leaning into that calf stretch, finding that nice length on the back of the leg. Giving the ankles some love, and hang out back here. Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna come back to center now, bringing the feet together. We're gonna drop into a narrow squat. So we're gonna go narrow squat, or chair pose, whatever you wanna call it. We'll bring our arms up and dive through a forward fold. Sweep the arms back up, sit chair pose. Love it. Just keep flowing through this at your own pace, guys. I'm going to find a little bit more length in the back of the legs each time we press into this. Take it forward. Sweep them up and down. As you come down, I really want you to focus on drawing that belly button towards your spine. So sink in, just draw it in, Uddiyana Bandha. Forward, two more like this. Sweep up, hands overhead. Beautiful. Push up, draw it in, forward fold. Finding a little more length here. Last one. Up, drop it down. Low, 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 low. Hold, hold. Press it all the way up. Draw that belly in. Find that length. Beautiful. We're going to take our hands to the mat or wherever you can reach. You might have to take them a little farther forward, or even if you have blocks that you can use. We're going to sink down, come onto our toes, dropping that bum towards the heel, Press back into that forward fold. So taking your hands as close to the feet as you can get them. You have to walk them out, of course, or place them on blocks. It's totally okay. Back into those toes, drop in. Working on our knees. Using that breath to flow through this movement. These are good prepping moves for deep squats. We're also going to move through Malasana further into this workout. So we'll work that deep squat really well. Two more like this. And the last one. And press all. All right, guys, come on up, shake it out. Let's come down to the mat. We're gonna just work through moving our knees side to side. So take your hands just behind you, and we're just gonna rock our legs side to side. Maybe play around with it. You let one come over, then the other. Maybe you start by rocking both side to side. We need to bring awareness to our hips, as well as to our spine here as it starts to kind of have a gentle rotation in it. Love it. Beautiful. Come back center. Bring your hands and feet together for a nice bound butterfly. Grabbing those toes, lifting the chest. We'll start to bring the chest forward in this butterfly. Bring a little further forward, drawing that tummy in. Pulling the chest towards the toes. And release it up. And pull forward one more time. The hips is such an intense one, guys. This is where we hold so much tension, especially those hip flexors in the front. Staying in butterfly pose, we're gonna come into a nice spinal rotation here. So as we press into the top of that leg, you're gonna find a little bit more of a pull in the opposite hip as well. When you live in like a more sedentary life, or if you work in an office, definitely want to work on that hip mobility. And if you are a regular at the gym and you're not doing hip mobility and you're working in an office job, definitely want to be doing this, because you don't want to go from sitting down all day to hitting the gym and doing really heavy deadlifts or squats without having proper hip mobility. Beautiful. And come up to standing. We're gonna come through the floor and back up. So we're gonna go into something that we call like an Eastern squat. So we're gonna step one foot forward, one foot back. We're gonna cross back, coming down into that squat, pressing back up through the foot, sinking down all the way down. This is really working that hip mobility through the thighs, through the knee joints. Press up to that top foot. One more on this leg. Beautiful. All right, let's switch sides. So taking the top, legs, we're pressing up opposite directions. Press into that foot, keeping that back toe pressed to the ground. Rolling through really gently, so there's lots of control here. We're not slamming ourselves into the ground. Love it. Last two. And one, all the way up. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna come through Malasana now, or garland pose, or deep squat, whatever you wanna call it. So play around with it first. If you don't feel like you're ready to go all the way into deep squat, you can just come into a wide sumo, placing your hands on your knees here. If you feel like you're ready to go all the way down into Malasana, you can walk your feet in, play around with this movement here. You want the spine straight. So we're not looking down at the ground to try and soothe the hips, right? We're playing around here. We're lifting up through that chest. Everything is stacked. Beautiful. So we're gonna place our hands to the mat, press up into a forward fold, sinking back down into Malasana, guys, on your own pace here. Up and down. Okay. Up and down, using your breath. Beautiful. Two more like this. Last one. And all the way down to Tadasana. We'll hold here for a few seconds. Pressing the palms of your hands together, pushing the elbows in towards the knees, really opening up the hips here. Finding that consistent breath as this begins to feel more intense. Breathing into it. Beautiful. Release our palms down, taking them behind us. We're going to kind of work on that chest a little bit. So option to go from your toes here if you have a lot of strength in your chest. Otherwise, we're going to come into a bit of a half plank here. So I'm on my knees, I've got my toes tucked for support. I'm going to come down. And I'm just going to play by just shuffling side to side for the push-up position and then pressing up. And I'm going to come down and I'm working by moving my chest forward and back. We're just kind of working through what feels good here. Just moving through, kind of playing around with those chest muscles, and as you need to press back into child's pose, that's fine. Pressing forward and back and up, coming down, moving side to side. You're really going to feel the chest fire up as we do this because this is not standard push-ups. And this is going to help with your chaturangas as well in yoga. And come back down side to side. Beautiful. We're going to release it down. Taking your back arm all the way out. Opposite hand pressed into the mat. We're going to rock our back leg over. Pressing here, opening the chest up. If you have the mobility, you can open up that heart here. Draw the belly in. Back down, just really focus on that back arm. Breathe into this. And we'll roll it back in. I'm going to just switch to the other side so I don't come out of camera view. So again, take that back arm all the way out, hand to the mat, rotate that back leg, and then to the top there. Take that back, the top arm up, reach it back. If it's in your practice today. Breathe into that arm, open up that chest, bring up to the shoulders as well. How good does this feel? And rotate back onto our tummies. Then we're going to hook our toes, press all the way back into child's pose. We'll walk our arms all the way over to one side. And walk our hands all the way together. And back to center. Come forward into our tabletop position. We're going to hook our toes, pressing back into plank. We're going to bring our right leg towards our chest, coming into runner's lunge. Taking both hands on the inside of the knee here, pressing into the back toes and the front heel. We're going to rotate here. Finding lots of space for that glute muscle, opening through the heart. Finding a little bit more space as you rotate through the spine. Big breath. Back to center. We're going to plant Our hands on either side of our foot. Walk that foot in a little bit. We're going to press up into crescent lunge. And from here, we're going to work on that back leg. So draw the belly in. We're going to bring that back knee all the way to the mat. Hold it here. Press it up. All the way down to the mat. So this takes a lot of control, guys. We're not slamming that knee down, so draw everything in. Take your time. Work through those toes as well. Get lots of mobility through those little toe joints. Help to get a nice deep lunge. So then you can imagine when you're holding weights, even if they're racked at your shoulders, or you're holding them down to the side, you have that mobility to get all the way towards the ground. That nice deep lunge. Working through that hip flexor here. A few more like this. I know it can feel intense. Drive through that front heel. Last one. All the way up. Drop the back heel here. Getting into a bit of a pyramid pose. Taking the hands down to the mat. Trying to get that back heel flat on the mat. Embrace this beautiful stretch. And we'll take the legs back, walking straight into that plank. Breathing strong here. Taking the left leg, drawing it in. Bring both hands to the inside of that leg. Rotate open into that twisted lunge. Take the arm back even further if you can, if it's in your practice. Opening up to the glute. Beautiful. I'm gonna have the outside of the foot. Walk it in. Plant it nice and strong. Sweep the arms up the crescent. Let that back heel back. Play around with this. Crescent lunge. All right, we'll bring the hands to heart center. Slowly begin to work on the mobility in that lunge. Trying to bring the knee all the way to the floor. Even if you have to stop right at the floor, just to kind of get that motion of pressing into the lunge. Come down, hang out on the floor. Do these mobility workouts, guys, a couple times a week. Really gonna help your performance in the heavier weighted workouts and in everyday life as well. We work on the pliability of our joints and muscles. If we fall down the stairs, we're so much less likely to get hurt if we're pliable and we're not so tight within our joints. A couple more like this, bring it down, try and bring it straight back up now. Warmed up a little more. Feel that strengthening your front glute. Beautiful. Bring the hands all the way down as we drop that back heel, coming into the pyramid. Personally, I always find one side a little bit more tense, and the other for me is always relaxed. Feminine side. Let's step back into that high plank position. Let's lower all the way down through the palms. Press the elbows back. Take your time. Hold it and lower it. Come into a nice little cobra stretch here. Squeeze into the back glutes. Legs in together. Spine is in space. And the front body. Up. And down. Tuck the toes, plant the hands, we'll press back all the way through down dog. We'll walk our feet towards our hands. Beautiful, and roll it on up. And we're just gonna work through some hip openers. So we're just gonna step it out, opening up the hips here. You see I got like my toe pointed, it just kind of helps me with stabilizing. Your arms wherever they feel comfortable as we open up the hips here. We're almost through this mobility and strength workout. Beautiful, guys. If you have the time in your day to do this before you hit the gym, before you do one of my heavier weighted workouts, give it a go and see how you feel before, during, and after your harder workouts. But even just doing this any day because it feels good to your body is so worth it. You take that hip a little higher as we open it up, get a little hang time, slowly lower it down, take that step out. Beautiful. And we're gonna come back down to the mat. One last time, coming into our butterfly once again. I always like to come back to butterfly because I find that this is such a great signifier of like how open your hips are. How close can you get your heels to your groin? How close can you get your knees to the ground? Drawing that chest in. Get it a little lower. Bring your forearms to the ground. Love it. And then we'll open up to straddle here. Heels as wide as you can comfortably. We'll begin to walk our hands down. Maybe you hang out here, leading with the chest. We're not rounding through the back either. Maybe you come to your forearms. Maybe you, I might go back a little further. Maybe you pancake to the ground. Whatever feels good to you. Coming back to your breath. We're just going to hang out here for a little bit. Beautiful, guys. Walk it back in. Draw those legs in. You've completed it. Fabulous, guys. So proud of you for showing up for yourself and for showing up for this workout. I know it's hard mentally to show up to do a workout where maybe you're not lifting weights or maybe you're not burning as many calories as you are in, say, like a cardio workout. But this is so important, guys. This is going to help you in your workouts. It's going to benefit your body in the long run. So please stick with these beautiful mobility and opening up workouts. Have a beautiful day, guys, and I will see you on the mat tomorrow for something a little bit more challenging. See you guys later.